Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Stroke. I am your host and stroke survivor, Jerry Wald. And for those of you that are new here, I started doing this show to bring awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, brain injury, and also to provide a platform for survivors to share their stories from literally across the world. And also bringing on uh, companies to share their products for stroke, TBI, so we can learn more about it and find some things that help us recover a little differently. So this morning, insightful products. I'm not sure if you've heard about. Ian will be sharing his company and what he's done and how it can help us. So I want you to ask questions. Good morning, guys. I appreciate you being here, and please ask questions, make comments, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel called Let's Talk Stroke. So please sit back and again ask questions, and let's go ahead and just get this started. All right, you guys, thank you for being here again, and I appreciate it. And let's go ahead and bring on Ian so he can share what he's that we can learn. So, good morning, Ian.
Hey, Jerry. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm kind of excited to share some insights that we've had on your.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this, and I appreciate you being on. And I mean, I've done my review on everything, and it is so I can't wait to get out of my what I'm currently wearing. So someday I'll have to use these and everything. So again, you guys that are out here and commenting and all that, please share where you're from, what part of the world you're here, and thank you for being here. And Ian, I always like to start is who is Ian, and before you started your company.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I don't know if this is that interesting to everybody. I was an electrical engineer in college, and I didn't like the profession, and so I asked my professor one day, "Hey, what do people do who don't have legs? Somebody's got to make them a leg, right?"
Yeah.
So that's how I got into prosthetics, and along the way, I recognized, hey, wait a minute here. There's this other profession called orthotics, which is the manufacture of orthopedic braces that go hand in hand. Same kind of profession, same certification process. So I ended up doing both. I'm a certified prosthetist and orthotist. And so since then, I've been interested in design and improving it along the way. And the Step Smart really was a work in progress for many years before we finally put it on the market, I don't know, about 15 years ago now.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. So you know, I don't. I have pictures of it, and that I could bring up if you don't have your. Because I don't see it on my
the Step Smart brace. Yeah, it's right here. Yeah. So here's the Step Smart. It's very low profile, and the advantage is so the joints. It's an articulated design, which is really critical. It's preserving the motion of your ankle joint, which allows you to be much more functional. But instead of having the joints on the medial lateral sides, what we did is we put the joints in the posterior, which gives it both a functional advantage and a cosmetic advantage. And along with that, we've designed the system to be modular and to have allow the user to dial in the amount of resistance at heel strike. So each brace comes with a set of bumpers, okay, and the green one's the softest and the black one's the stiffest. And what users can do is switch it out. I'm going to show you the setting that we ship it in. We ship it with the green and the amber bumpers. But if you want it a little stiffer, you can put in 2 amber bumpers, or if you want a little bit more flexibility, you'd put the 2 green. The black one's real stiff, and we don't have a lot of people who prefer that, but some do. So basically, you get the dynamic that suits you. So if you have a short step length or you have a crouch gait, you can use maybe the green bumpers. But if you have long and you're an aggressive walker with long stride lengths, maybe you want 2 amber bumpers. And that's how the user can get the best function out of this design. everything's around the back, so you don't have to upsize the shoe, which is a big advantage. And those are some of the things that we thought of when we designed the brace.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I already see people, Robin, she wants to try it. Where do you, I could pull up the your website and all the social media where you are. So they can actually purchase it from there, right?
Yeah, they can go on our site, insightfulproducts.com. You'll notice when you get on there, there's a couple different choices of styles of Step Smart, and depending on how much spasticity you might have or how much inversion in your foot, you may choose to go with the CMT design, which controls inversion a little bit more. So what do I mean by inversion? So, drop foots like this, right? All the braces do that. They all bring up the foot during clearance. Well, most of them do. So not all of them, it turns out. But it's much more than that. You have to manage what's called stance phase. So as the foot hits the ground, the way the brace reacts at heel strike all the way to toe off matters, right? Because it's function that you need to be able to walk during stance phase as well as prevent yourself from tripping. So that all those are considered. And I don't know if you can get that other camera going, but that would be a way for us to show that.
Yeah, I don't see the on my side. I would usually see it so that I could bring it up, which is
maybe next time. So anyway, the other element to stroke cases, which is a little different. So drop foot isn't the same for somebody who's had a back surgery or knee surgery or I don't know, peripheral neuropathy. Those types of drop foot is a little different than stroke. So stroke generally has a couple of different components, and one of them is spasticity, and the other is inversion of the foot. So we see a lot of inversion like this of the foot and ankle when somebody has a stroke, and we do the best we can to manage that with this eye strap and the design that that we put into the CMT design, this element here. And so a little hard to show you without kind of being on the floor there, but I could probably bring my camera down and show. So the point is that with stroke, you have a varying degrees of spasticity depending on how severe the stroke is. And it's important to understand that if you're super spastic or press real hard with your uncontrollably with your toes and pushing hard, there's no brace that's going to be comfortable or really that manageable. Because it's just too much pressure on the foot.
Yeah, I see yours so different because I saw one of the videos that it's very comfortable, and like I wish I could show you mine, but the carbon fiber, you probably have one of these. Couldn't lift my foot up, but
the white sample.
Yeah. Oh, I think you may have one, but it's
So I'll show you what the state of the art has been all these years. And when I first started 35 years ago, this is what I was doing because I didn't know any better. But unfortunately, a lot of practitioners are still kind of stuck in that system. It should be a sample in my office there. And it's what they call a molded articulated ankle AFO, and this one has a plantar flexion stop, so it's really big, unnecessarily big. I guess I'm not going to go through all the design problems I see with this design, but just roughly, this stop here, preventing plantar flexion at heel strike, is a real problem for people because they can't walk down ramps or stairs, and their knee ends up kicking out from underneath them.
Yeah. So
allowing that plantar flexion early in stance phase stabilizes the knee, and that's what the Step Smart can do for you.
That's exactly about 99%. That's what I have, and it doesn't allow you to yours here. I don't know if this one right there. See it? Oh, I can't see it, but
that's the Step Smart brace. That one definitely allows for plantar flexion. It's hard to show in just a still image, which is why we have the camera on the ground to show you. That's not working right now, but but it allows full range of motion, right?
Which I can't get that on the one I'm using.
That's right. So you're limited. So what people find when they get the Step Smart brace is they feel like, oh my God, I got my ankle back again.
Yes.
And that's really nice, especially when you're trying to get up out of a chair, right? So the other common brace design is the carbon graphite ones, which are really too stiff. They weren't designed for drop foot. They were designed for the other problem, which I won't get into. But people are using them for drop foot because it clears the ground. It definitely does that part. It manages swing phase, but it doesn't manage stance phase very well. Contacting the ground and being able to come over the foot easily, breaking the toes is really important. And getting up out of a chair is important. You got to be able to tuck your foot underneath you to get up out of a chair. If that brace is too stiff, it inhibits you from doing some of the basic activities of daily living.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one here, because I see all the questions, you guys, and you want to go
help with supination? Yes, that's what supination or inversion is basically the same thing. So the foot inverts like that, and that's very typical with stroke. And we have a strap that holds that in, and then we have this tab that's on the medial side that checks it on the CMT design.
Right. Here's one here too. That
one's the easy on. So what that does is that that takes the brace and puts it on the external side of the shoe. You see that?
Yeah.
It's not in the shoe. Okay. So there's some advantages and disadvantages, right? So the advantage is there's nothing in the shoe, so it makes it a lot more comfortable. It's easier to put on. And we married it with the Skechers slip-in shoe.
Right.
Because that one's particularly advantageous to an attachment point, but also you don't have to deal with any laces. You can stuff your foot right in there. It slides in, boom, you're done. This is really nice to have around the house. Like, it's okay to have more than one brace. You can wear this one around the house and some other brace or the other Step Smart around town. But this is kind of a cozy kind of just slip in real fast when you need to go to the bathroom kind of design. So this one has the same system with, you can choose the bumpers. These bumpers aren't installed, but I'll show you. It's easy to do that. Just make sure they're tucked in.
It's simple to put that in.
Yeah. So now it's canted forward, right?
Right.
So there's a reason for that, because that gives you a preload so that you have the advantage of a dorsiflex assist throughout the full range of motion. So a lot of brace designs miss that. So they miss half of the range of motion because there's no kickback in the dorsiflexion range, which is equally important.
Right. Yeah, I see all these comments. Thank you for being here, you guys. Here's one too. This one right here.
So that's the CMT design, and it looks a little strappy, but it's all for a reason. We don't put anything on our braces that isn't absolutely necessary. So with this, we've got a few features that was originally designed for person with CMT, but it turns out the person with CMT and the person with stroke have the same kind of issues. And we've also found that athletes like this too, because it really socks down the heel into the brace in a tight way that allows them to perform better. But there's a little pad, you can't see it underneath here, another one underneath here to help with the pes cavus foot. It has two straps, and then this is the guided calf section part, and this can be adjusted to snug up against your leg depending on how fat your leg is or skinny. And then it's a little higher, so you get a little better leverage. It makes it a little bit more comfortable. And then you have both straps, so it's a crisscross design. So that's that tends to be to provide more control.
Yeah. There was one that, can you put it on with one hand?
Yes, that is a great question, and we thought about that because we know that a lot of cases they can't use the other hand, right? So in this one, this is the StepSmart brace. We've designed it so that if I don't have my left hand, which
Right.
is the left foot, same, then I can still reach around, grab this strap, feed it through like that, one-handed. And then on this strap, we set it up so that this is just the wraparound strap. This is just wraps around the leg, and that's it.
Right.
Now the trick is getting, that's not the hard part. The hard part is getting the foot into the brace shoe combination. So the way we've managed that is we provide with every StepSmart brace a little Velcro system. So you can Velcro the brace into the shoe, and that makes it easier than the whole thing is kind of together. So with that, we have this little horseshoe pieces that you can add to the bottom here of the brace. They're just adhesive back. And then you would take this horseshoe, solid horseshoe design, and stick this into the shoe so that when you put the brace into the shoe, it engages. Now the trick here is you want to pull the brace all the way back into the kind of shoe before you engage the Velcro. This way here, you're not sacrificing any room in the shoe.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's so exciting. People should go to your website and check it out, see your videos that you've done, because I got so much information out of there, and I know we have it up here. But if you guys want to, I saw Robin, you wanted to order one. Where do you get it? And make sure you do it's a whoever's watching. If you go to Jerry10 for 10% off, use that code. Just like throw that in there. Thank you for even doing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm just happy to be able to share what we've developed over the years to help people walk. I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I know there was some other questions out here, but I'm sure if I forget them, I'll go through the comments. And John Loomis, thank you for being here. Yeah, it is. I see my daughter out here.
Well, it's not awesome if you have super spastic case. So, it's not. What we find is that people get a little. They expect a little bit more than what's possible.
Right.
So a test that we recommend for stroke cases is you take the foot, and you need two people for this, but a PT will do this all the time, and everybody's used to this. So they bring up the foot, and if you can't bring up the foot with your hand to what's called neutral, to a 90-degree position, then the StepSmart brace isn't going to be strong enough to do that.
No.
Now, does it matter? That's a different story. So for some cases, we've had patients who are just so delighted not to be in pain because they've been in pain with a plantar flexion stop because their metatarsal heads push on this plastic all day long, and it's so painful. It's such a relief to get a StepSmart brace. A relief from the pain is worth it. Maybe it isn't perfect. Maybe the StepSmart doesn't get them quite all the way, but it's improved function and without pain. And that's really a big deal. So again, our recommendation is if somebody can take your forefoot and bring it up to neutral, to 90 degrees, then a StepSmart brace is going to be a nice choice for you.
Yeah, let's see here. And also on my current, you showed that AFO there. Mine is very similar, but your brace, your feet, I don't know how to say it, but not dangle off, but they're not so far in there. Does that make sense there?
Oh, yes. I'm glad you mentioned that because people have a misconception of what's required for drop foot. Right. And a lot of people think you've got to have a foot plate that goes all the way up to the toes. And if you don't have that, then it's not going to raise the toes.
Right.
Well, that turns out to be a myth because, first of all, we've been doing this for a long time, and I assure you it works. But the way it works is we recruit the shoe. So by bringing up the foot at this point behind the metatarsal heads,
right,
these would be the metatarsal heads right here, right? The ball of the foot. Then it does a couple things. One is it allows people to at the end of stance phase to easily and naturally come over the toes, because the toes break normally.
Right.
Makes it a lot more comfortable because you don't have plastic pushing up against these metatarsal heads all day long, which is awful. And then lastly, because the shoe kind of clamps in here, everything comes up, and it's not a problem that you don't have something underneath the toes.
Absolutely, yeah. So
it's a disadvantage to have anything beyond the metatarsal heads. Yet, people are still designing braces like that. I mean, here's one here. This is too long in my professional opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I thank you, Insightful Products.
We're here for you. So what we do is we understand that our brace isn't for everybody. It's for most people. It's for most people with stroke. But we want to give people a chance to try it out. So we do have a 30-day trial period. So there's no risk to anybody to order it. Try it out. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. We'll take it back. We can afford to do that because our success rate is high, and generally people find that it's useful, comfortable, takes away pain, more functional, the whole thing. So we don't have any problem doing that. We just want to make sure it works for you. And that's the other thing we can do. We can troubleshoot. Sometimes it's like little things that come up of putting it on, or strategies for putting it on that require just a little bit of guidance. It can feel a little overwhelming at first when you get it, because it's like you're not used to it. But after a week, it's people get a habit or get a technique that works for them to donning it. Once it's on, it's good to go. Yeah, but we're here for everybody or anybody that needs to talk. We do video consults too for patients to guide them through any issues they might have. The biggest problem people have is that because it's so short, there's a lot of pressure on the calf. And that pressure can't be tolerated by some people who are just kind of skin and bones. But we can't predict from here who can tolerate it, who can't. We just design what will work for most people. And we, if it turns out that pressure is too high for somebody,
right,
then we have the longer calf section that comes with the CMT design, which when it's longer, it makes it more comfortable because the pressure isn't as high, and the pressure is distributed a little bit better, and it's on the bulk of the meat of the gastrocnemius muscle, so it's much more tolerable of pressure.
Is it hard to adjust from my AFO to yours? I'm wondering what the time.
It only takes a few steps, and oh my God, it's so much better. Yeah, that's the usual experience that we find. Yeah.
Because with mine, I'm starting to notice more hyperextension in my knee.
Okay, so hyperextension in the knee is not something our brace can manage,
right?
Because it's the knee problem, right? Now, having said that, it does stabilize the knee, okay, like we talked before, allowing that foot to come early in stance phase to come to foot flat, stabilize the knee. It doesn't buckle the knee. But then you're talking about the other direction, like hyperextension of the knee.
Yes. Which
is very common in stroke cases. That isn't something that necessarily needs to be solved, in my judgment. Now, a lot of practitioners, they see that and say, oh, geez, you got to solve that problem. It's a clear problem. We can see it. Everybody can see it.
Yeah.
What matters to me is if my patients or my customers are pain-free and functional.
Right.
Those two things mean way more than whether you have a little extra hyperextension moment at the knee.
Wow.
So your knee's pretty strong. It can handle a lot of hyperextension moment. It's probably desired because at least your knee isn't buckling.
Yes, exactly.
Right. But if it turns out to be a painful thing, we do offer a massive knee brace, which connects the Step Smart brace to a knee brace. And that's why we designed it for that exact reason
Right.
we recognize that some people truly do need to or want to control that hyperextension moment.
Yeah, this is there's some more. The design helps you get neutral. Right? Thanks for making these comments and these questions, Musang. You see the question on there?
To get to neutral.
Yeah, this design helps you get neutral, question mark. It's the next progression, right? Question mark.
So usually when people talk about neutral, they talk about the two planes of motion that we kind of touched on. So neutral in the sagittal plane, right, would be here. Yes, it allows you to get to neutral. That's desired, of course, during swing phase. And then in the coronal plane, it's that inversion. Getting to neutral means controlling that inversion. And
right.
That's what that strap design that comes around here to hold that in place is for. And that's what the guided calf section is for, to check that. It's a whole dynamic between the upper section of the brace and the lower section of the brace that is important when managing inversion of the foot.
Whoops. Don't know what happened there. This is interesting.
So how much time do we have here, Jerry? Because should I make an attempt to put my laptop on the floor so that people can see what it looks like that way?
Yeah, I think that would be a perfect.
All right. May look a little kludgy here.
Let's see.
Yeah, we weren't set up for that, but there's the Step Smart.
There we go.
Okay, so you can see the step. Go ahead and just take a slow motion step, and you can see he's got the dual strapped with guided calf section on the left, and he's got a traditional kind of Step Smart Classic design on the right.
The other way around.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the that one here is the
CMT.
that's the CMT design right there, and that one's the classic one there. And you can see it's got full range of motion. And at heel strike, he can bend his toes easily. Show heel strike and how it comes down. That's the important thing, is coming down right there before lifting the heel. Right there, that's it. That's the motion that is needed to handle ramps, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because without that, you end up kind of negotiating a ramp sideways.
Right. Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
And is it, if you don't mind, I'm just going through some of these folks out here asking questions. Is it waterproof? Can you use it in a pool?
Yeah, we recommend that people use it in the water all the time. And, I would sacrifice a pair of sneakers if it was me, and just let everything get wet. It'll dry out. It's not a big deal.
That's good. Let's see this question here. I'll see if I miss it. Ask Ian, if my knee keeps cracking when I hyperextend the step, is it good or bad?
I haven't found that noises like that are meaningful.
Yeah.
Orthopedically. So yeah, it's kind of weird to have something crack all the time. But if it's not, again, the two major things: is it painful? Is it functional? Those are the things that matter most. And a strange noise coming out of your knee, I don't know. There are worse things.
Yeah.
I know it's annoying. I wouldn't want that either, I guess. But, we all have our little orthopedic issues. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see where I put that here. Yeah, but yeah, this has been great. Yeah, you have plenty of time, whatever you wanted to. But yeah, there some people. Waterproof is nice because a lot of people do use it, or they use their AFO in the pool. But we don't call it AFO; we call it a brace on your side.
I don't. Yeah, AFO stands for ankle foot orthosis.
Right.
This is an AFO, of course.
Sure.
It's just a short one. So one question that I get a lot is, well, how come my orthotist didn't recommend the StepSmart brace?
Yeah.
And I think you have to get in the mind of an orthotist to understand why it is that the orthotist doesn't see this as a solution when it is. The orthotist gets trained to control every motion. It's like if they see a motion that's not right, they got to control it. And it's a little overdone a lot of times. And that kind of mindset to control the pathological motion ends up being more harm than good sometimes. And so by allowing the ankle to have the full range of motion, by allowing inversion and eversion, you're not restricting people in turning around, handling ramps, handling stairs, getting up out of a chair. The things that matter require motion. And so we try to provide as much motion as possible to the foot and ankle while just providing the minimal amount of support needed to manage what you need to manage. And that's why having the bumper system that allows you to choose how much you want to be managed gives you improved function.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you wear it without a shoe?
No, can't wear it without a shoe. This one, it is a shoe, right?
Yeah.
The StepSmart on the outside.
Love it.
So that's what I'd recommend for around the house kind of thing.
Right.
Kind of cozy living. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Stephen Albright out there. I'm a bit late. My ankle wants to roll outwards. I think we talked about that, even with my AFO on.
Well, yes, of course. Yeah. So now I don't know what kind of AFO he has, whether it's designed to manage that or not. Can't tell from here. But a lot of times that spasticity is so strong and so hard that almost nothing controls it. And inside the brace, people are still turning. Our brace is as good as any at controlling that, but it's a problem that that is a little bit more on the kind of hassle and kind of side of things. It's not generally a functional thing. If the foot is so far twisted that they can't get the foot underneath them and they end up walking like this, then it's a functional thing. But if at contact of the ground, the foot ends up like coming into plantigrade from this position, then all right, it's not great that your foot's twisting like that every step you take, but having a stroke isn't great either. So,
yeah, exactly.
Live with.
Yeah. Could I use it with pot?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we have a lot of people who love the StepSmart brace who ride horses because there's nothing on the medial and lateral sides. It's in the back. So you can come up to the horse real close naturally without any problem. So with her case, I would recommend sending us the boots and we could do an external one on the boot.
Wow.
So people are sending us shoes, and then we add the StepSmart to the outside of their shoe, and that would probably be the best solution for her.
Great question. The other question I saw it answered. I bought my shoes an extra and a half maybe size because of my AFO, which you don't have to do that with yours.
Oh,
maybe.
Yes. Well, I told you I wasn't going to show you all the flaws in design here, but I'll share another one with you.
That's mine right there.
Yeah. This part of the brace here,
yes,
not only is it necessary, but it's a problem because shoes come in like this. So when you put this into a shoe, it pushes the brace forward like this. So you end up with all these extra space that isn't used. You can't get that brace back into the shoe all the way, and you're forced to upsize your shoe with a lot of brace designs. With
Right,
the Step
right.
Smart, we've cut away that problem. And now the shoe can come in there. I'm exaggerating a little bit, of course.
Yeah.
But that you can get the brace all the way back into the counter of the shoe, and upsizing the shoe isn't nearly as needed.
Yeah.
So people find they don't have to upsize their shoe with our design.
Yeah, that's a great question out there. I'm glad. This is, if we didn't get to your questions after or whenever, I will get back to them. Some of these questions, because this is what it's about, is your product, and people want to know about it. Which, I know the Richie brace or the other one, and
yeah. So our brace design dynamically is as good as any of them.
wow.
The TurboMed is really taken hold in the orthopedic world because it bills nicely, frankly. But our brace design is the same dynamic as the TurboMed, but with better cosmetics, right? When you put the Step Smart brace in your shoe, you can hardly see it, which is a real problem for us. And I'm going to try to show you a picture of it. It's a real problem for us when kind of describing the low profile of it. We try to take pictures of it kind of sideways so that people can see. But if you're head on and you got pants on, you can't see that brace at all.
No.
Yeah. So
just the yellow socks.
Yeah. Well, again, we're trying to show the brace. If you had black socks on, we take a picture of it. You couldn't even see it.
Yeah.
You have to put yellow socks on so people can see where the brace is. So that's a
good point.
Brace. Yeah. So that's a few views of it. This is the front of the CMT brace that we talked about and you can just see that the guided calf section there and the double straps. And then this is what we call the Easy On that we just talked about that attaches to the outside of the shoe.
Yeah, I'll bring these up here, like this one there, the insole and I see the foot, how it's like the toes are not on the brace, which is, I can't wait. Yeah,
that's a nice for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
Right. And I'd love to show this again here. The one with the brace outside, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep. That's right. The Easy On for around the house. Or some people are wearing those throughout the day. The disadvantage of the Easy On is you can't change it from one shoe to the other.
Right. Yeah. Marina, does the insurance take care of that?
Yes.
They do?
We don't bill insurance here. Practitioners can do that. We know people who've gotten reimbursed from their insurance companies by showing them, that they purchased it with the receipt, and we can provide all that. There are some L codes that apply that maybe a practitioner would want to submit. But boy, there's too many insurance companies and too many states for me to go through each one. So, no, it's not every case, but a lot of cases it is covered.
Yeah.
But we offer it at a price that's at or below some of the copays that are being used for the $2,000 brace, right?
Yes.
So it's for the customer, it's the same thing, and you get to solve the problem yourself without having to make a couple, 3 trips to your orthotist.
Where is it shipped? Could be shipped anywhere, although, because I see.
Oh, yeah, we've shipped around the world.
Okay.
A lot of different countries. You can name a country, we probably ship there. If you live in Spain, sorry, you're not getting the Step Smart brace. Maybe you can drive over to France or something, or Portugal to get yours.
Yeah,
I don't know. Their laws are different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here, there's I'll bring it up here, but here is and I have a ticker that I can go on there, but that's for I saw some questions out here. Where can I read up on this? What's the company name? Insightfulproducts.com. But they're on Facebook, YouTube, and YouTube's got so much great information on it. But that's where it is right there, if you want to look up on it. Because I see Marina And you can send me a private message. I can give you all the information too. And yes, it will be shipped to Canada, Jana. But yeah, so Spain is the only one, or I'm sure there's other countries maybe, but.
And I guess I'd like to say something about Amazon for a second, because Amazon is really being very hurtful to us small businesses. We can't manage a customer if you order through Amazon. We don't know who you are. so it's much better to order it directly to us. You don't save anything by ordering it through Amazon. We offer the same guarantees, the same warranties, the same securities. So please don't order from Amazon. They take way too much of a cut, and we're really having a hard time getting paid by them and the whole thing. So I'm not, we're forced to do it because, that's where a lot of people turn to find things for themselves. But please just order it right from our website.
Right. Exactly.
And that goes for any small business, frankly. I try not to use Amazon personally, but.
Exactly. But there's, I know it's a little messed up here, but that's if you get on there, Marina, this is the information to find insightful products. Can you throw it in the washer? I just saw it. Oh my goodness.
I don't know if anybody's thrown in the washer. There's no reason to. I mean, I don't know. Do people throw their shoes in the washer? I guess people do. I don't. I've never washed my shoes before.
Exactly.
Yeah. The bumpers. Yeah. Bumpers shouldn't go in the washer.
Exactly. And yes, they're made. I see Eddie Ray out there.
Yeah. You can just, if you really want to wash it, just wash it like you would a dish, put it in your sink and just wash it like that.
And it is made in Maine. So I know.
Yeah. Made in the USA. Everything's made in the USA. And actually, I think everything's made in Maine.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple things that aren't, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Small
yeah, it is great info. Thank you guys. This is great to see you all here. Ian, are we missing anything else on that?
Well, if there is a next time, Jerry, let's get the camera rolling on the ground so we can better describe the phases of gait, because that is important to understand when you're trying to treat a condition, is how it is that the design is managed to make things better for the customer and for ambulation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because this is a product that we can all use. The ones that have no issue with with a drop foot, but can you run with it?
Yeah, people love running with it. Yeah, we got a lot of athletes. We have football players, marathon runners, you name it. Yeah, tennis players. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
Maine. She's asking, where's the company, right?
Oh yeah, we're in the state of Maine. Mm-hmm.
And you moved there.
I had a practice in Connecticut. I sold my clinical practice to start Insightful Products, and I just felt like I could do more good for more people, and that's turned out to be the case. We have easily over 10,000 people walking around with Step Smart braces worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Great information. But
we even sold a couple to the Vatican.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sold one to somewhere in the Vatican?
I don't know. Maybe the Pope has drop foot. I don't know.
Yeah.
How would we know? He's got his robe on.
Yeah. Who knew? Wow. Yeah. That's exciting. And do you have a big team that works with you?
Yeah, our team is anywhere from 4 to 8 throughout the years. Depending on demand. Yep. Wow. Yeah, we have a couple other products that I'm not talking about because this is a discussion about stroke, but those products have their ups and downs for sure.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, it's I'm so glad we got together to share this. And when I get mine, I
You
will.
know, I've lectured on this lots of times, Jerry. I even won a national award for this design and the patented Jacob joint.
Yeah, tell us about that because they're patented.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have patents on all our stuff, but the innovation that really I think turned people's heads, and because it's valuable, is
Yeah,
that you don't have the joints on the medial and lateral side; it's around the back. That's a huge advantage, both functionally and cosmetically. And the reason that took so long to develop, why it is that it wasn't thought of before, it's because we're all trained in school. You got to have the orthotic joint aligned with the anatomical joint, which kind of makes sense, right? I mean, why would anybody kind of question that?
right.
So that's why you have these joints on the medial and lateral side, because this orthotist remembered, you got to have this alignment with the anatomical joint. And so I decided, you know what? I don't think you do. so I brought it, away from that, which gave it all these other benefits and advantages. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And since I've been wearing an AFO well, I got off it for a while, then I broke my hip and back in it. But I tried to find different shoe sizes because mine you have to get a larger size. And I know on Nordstrom's you can buy two different sizes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, I often wondered.
Yeah, yeah, that's the only one I can find. But the ones I found is similar to the Skechers. So there's other shoes that you can buy that are similar to. But your Skechers, are you talking about the slip-ins?
Yeah, so the slip-ins, the slip-ins are valuable because they have a very stiff counter.
Right.
So it does. So you can stuff your foot in there, and the counter doesn't fold over, and it has that bumper there on the inside that holds the calcaneus from popping out. And so that's enough, along with the strap, to hold that ankle in, and for most people, solve the drop foot problem, just all in one.
Yeah, you also, with your brace, unlike mine, every once in a while I get gets a rash.
Oh,
and I don't know if a lot of, so I don't know if you've heard that before.
Right, because it's very encompassing. It
Very.
traps in the moisture and the heat with all this plastic wrapped around your leg. Yeah, and the foot. Yeah, so look at this giant foot section, coming all the way lateral and all the way medial.
Right.
Compared to ours, which works just as well or better. So we reduced it. We're the minimized basically the need for plastic, right? Because as you're recognizing, it doesn't breathe well and it's not that comfortable to have it all wrapped around your foot and ankle. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to mention something you've been wondering about. Maybe people talk about hip height. It's a very typical thing an orthotist or prosthetist do, is make sure the hips are even. I'm not sure that really matters, because what really matters is clearance. Right. So as long as you're swinging that leg through and not catching the ground, then where your hips are doesn't really matter to me, because it's about function. However, some people like to have it even. Okay, and if that's the case, you can order the StepSmart with a contralateral hip square, which goes under the other foot. So now you have an even kind of circumstance with something of the same thickness and design for both feet. Yeah. So that's one of the options you have. And then the other option is the top cover. So when people go to order the StepSmart brace, they get stuck because they don't want to order the wrong thing. They're like, well, wait a minute here. I have a top cover option here. a little hard to tell. This one without the top cover. See, there's no top cover on this. So traditionally braces don't have any padding over the foot section, and you don't need it.
Right.
But some people want to have a little bit more cushioning and control and comfort. So we do offer it for another $25 if you want to do that. And that's what this is right here. So I would say don't order it because you can just take your shoe and you can take the insert out of the shoe and put that on top of the brace.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So you create your own top cover essentially with what's in the shoe. I'm trying to get this one out so I can show you. It's really glued in there.
Well, they sell those.
Oh, these are sewed in here?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be able-
they sell them.
Oh yeah, that's not going to be it. That's not going to. But anyway, shoes have an insert that oftentimes you can pop out.
Right.
That insert, if you cut that down just by 1/2 inch, you could put that on top of the Step Smart
Okay.
kit section here,
Yeah.
and it kind of like a little sandwich, and that makes it a little easier to slide in. It makes it a little bit more comfortable, and it kind of holds things together a little nicer.
You know, I just thinking about everything that you've mentioned. The exciting thing is there's a lot of, I don't want to say 90%, but a lot of people that have a stroke and they're getting their, I don't know, tradition or whatever, the AFO. With yours, I can start wearing dress shoes again. To go to the wedding, I'm usually wearing my sneakers.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, I've got I got to risk it here a little bit here. I've got these shoes on.
okay. Oh, yeah.
So for today, I don't have drop foot, but today I decided I'd show you what we have. And so, yeah, these are in wingtips.
Yeah, that's
I didn't, these aren't upsized.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And I can't remember the other question here. Yes, Robin, I see that. How do I know what to order?
Right. So that's a great question. So I would say it depends on your spasticity. So if you got a lot of inversion and it's
Yes.
that's something you really want to control best, as much as possible, then I would get the CMT design. But if you're looking for something as kind of low profile as possible, then the classic Step Smart should be fine too. But here's the thing, Jerry. Customers don't have to sweat it because we do exchanges all the time.
Okay.
So if they order the classic, for instance, and it's like, oh, I don't have enough control of the inversion, no problem. We'll switch it out for you. We'll just charge you the difference and you'll be good. So so that's something to remember too.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. The other question,
Flip flops. Wow.
you're
Okay. I have successfully installed the Step Smart brace over a flip flop. So guess what? There's not a lot to work with. So so
because they're chosen.
yeah. So the problem with flip flops is that there's no instep, right? All it is just a platform that you hook your toes into. It's the instep, right? The instep meaning
Sure.
the top of the foot that needs to be managed with drop foot because you got to hold that heel down somehow.
Yeah.
If you don't hold this part of the foot down into the brace, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, none of them work. So that's some people you recruit the shoe, and by the way, you don't have to have this strap. You can cut that strap off, and maybe you work fine that way. So the straps are always optional with our designs, but for flip flops, what you have to do to make it work is you have to put lots of Velcro here, lots of Velcro on the flip flop, and make sure the two are married and
Right.
really solidified to each other. And then the strap here that naturally comes with the brace can hold that heel down in there. So interesting question. And you'd have to send your flip flops in for that if you want to try that.
Yeah, that's funny. I never heard that question with anybody, but that's
Hey, people have all different footwear. And the interesting thing about design, and that strikes people funny sometimes, is we're designing more for the shoe than we are for the foot.
yeah. Okay.
Right? I mean, you can design for the foot all day long, but it's got to fit into a shoe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guess what? Our patients wear shoes, so
Yeah.
so getting the brace design to fit in the shoe is critically important, and we're always thinking about that. But all shoes are all different ways, right? You got
Right.
cowboy boots to flip flops to working boots to sneakers to and they all have different variations of what they can tolerate within the shoe and what can be put in and out of them. And so it's not like the StepSmart works with all shoes, because that just isn't a thing. But it's better to design the brace for the shoe than it is design the brace for the foot.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, this is great. Thanks for the questions, you guys. And I know we missed one here, which I think I know the answer, but I'll let you answer it. Let's see here from Eddie Ray. With the back being hardened, does it rub the ankle or cause blisters?
It can. So this is meant to slide up and down on the leg. Okay. And we tell people best to wear socks that come up higher than the level of the brace. So it just slides on the sock. Some people try to go without socks. And for some people, it's perfectly fine. It just depends on the type of skin you have, the amount of humidity in the air, a bunch of variables we can't control. So if you want to try wearing it without socks, go for it. It might work fine. You might find you get a blister because if this starts catching, as much as slippery as we try to make this thing, and we try to find the best leather possible that slides easily without any high coefficient of friction. But we do find that sometimes people develop blisters there. So that can be solved with a sock sometimes. Depending on the person, they may have to go with a higher calf section to solve that problem.
Yeah, I love, and I hope well, this is perfect. That's why I do these shows so having you on, people ask questions, and Robin's asking the questions here too. I probably know this answer, but can't walk on the beach in tennis shoes because when you get sand in them, you just shake it out. It's the Velcro probably causes a little you probably can shake it out.
Well, beach walking is an interesting test.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The reason I talk about walking on the beach because it's a good example of how people don't trip. So remember we talked about uneven hips?
Yes.
And you stand on a flat surface and you're trying to get the hips even. People get in their mind that this is so critical. If it was so critical, then walking on a beach wouldn't be possible for people.
Yeah.
So you walk along the beach and it's like this. So naturally you have one leg longer than the other every single step.
Right.
And then you walk the other direction and guess what? It's the other way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now you have a different set of conditions. So what ends up happening is those of us with asymmetry, and that's pretty much everybody here, finds that walking in one direction on the beach is a lot easier than walking in the other direction.
I know that's for sure. Yeah.
But as far as sand and stuff, I don't know. Do you really want to be walking around with a plastic bag over your foot? I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, definitely.
I get sand in my toes,
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's been just over an hour or just about an hour. So
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on. And
Oh yeah,
sharing
pleasure.
all your
Jerry,
information.
it's really fun to share my knowledge with people and help them out. That's what we do.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, if you rewatch this, if there's any information you want to know, send a message. Or send it to me or to you, or I can pass it on to you or to Ian or.
Yeah, you can email me directly, Ian@insightfulproducts.com. No problem. Be happy to help anybody out.
Yeah, insightful. One L. That's I made a mistake at one
Oh
time.
yeah, 1L.
Yeah, but yeah, this is it's been great. I hope everybody got a lot out of it, which by these questions and comments, I know you did, and I appreciate it. And I know I saw there was about 70, 80 people watching at one time so
Yeah.
Um,
Good
but yeah,
turnout. Hey, I hope everybody has a happy new year and safe new year. May
Yeah.
2025 bring you prosperity and safety and good health.
and new shoes, new braces. But
new ankles.
yeah, so but I'll put if you looked at the promo, you'll see all the information on where to reach Ian and his staff, and but if not, you can always go to me, and I'll put comments in this show video. And by the way, it was on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, several Facebook pages, Twitch. So I appreciate you guys watching for wherever you're watching. So Ian, thank you so much, and your team there. What a great, and obviously we'll be talking. So
yep. All right, Jerry.
Pleasure. Have a great,
everybody.
yeah.
Take
Everybody
care.
have a great day. Rest of your day and weekend. And